Good morning, everyone. I pray that your Monday was a great beginning of the week. And even if it wasn't, I pray that there was times or spaces and places where you found joy or peace or happiness. This morning in my walk, which was a little bit dreary because it was misting, I was thinking about what I would talk about. And what I want to talk about is finding your edge. A lot of times in yoga, they will tell you when you get into a pose and you're holding it, they'll say, find your edge. See how far you can go where you may feel some stretching, but it's not painful. And I thought about that in relation to lots of things in life. Finding your edge, seeing how far you can go, but not to the point where it is painful. A lot of us, we give up really too quickly. We are attempting to do something and it's not going the way we would have it to go, and so we stop. But we don't challenge ourselves. And I was thinking about this in relation to relationships. You may be in a relationship and you find yourself just kind of feeling very complacent, or you feel like you've been putting up with stuff for too long, or whatever you may find yourself where it's becoming uncomfortable. And so the analogy I was thinking about is when it becomes uncomfortable, do you know where your edge is? Do you know where the places are where you should push a little further, where you should lean into it a little bit further? There's some discussions we don't like to have, some things we don't like to talk about. Maybe you can give yourself permission to push a little bit further, but not to the point where it brings you pain. You know, an example, pushing yourself a little further, there may be something that your partner or spouse is doing or not doing that you don't particularly care for, but when you think about bringing it up, you don't want to get into an argument, you don't think that they're going to listen. And so maybe finding your edges, can you push your desire a little bit, your need to tell your partner or spouse your desire, can you push it a little bit further without it becoming painful? And that's something that takes practice. It's like developing your muscle. I'll go back to my exercise analogy. And so I try to do yoga, and a lot of times they'll have us do a lot of hip openers. And sometimes we'll have to open our legs or to reach forward and to kind of fold. And I cannot, when I'm folding, my face does not hit the ground. But if I allow myself to just be comfortable, I'm a lot further away from the ground than if I make the decision to push myself a little bit past my comfort zone to find that edge, to find that sweet spot where I've challenged myself, but it has not become painful, because nobody wants pain. And so I would just encourage you today, in whatever you're doing, whether it's exercise, whether it's in relationships, whatever it may be, to find your sweet spot. Don't just stay comfortable where comfort is, but to push towards your edge. You may be pleasantly surprised and find that you have more in you than what you thought. You have more in you than what you thought. This is a little different, but I went to a vendor today because I needed to get something done. And it involved them printing something for me because I don't have ink cartridge and I haven't used my printer in a long time. And I was advised if you haven't used your printer in a long time, the ink could be clogged up. So to make a long story short, I went to a store for them to print something for me. And they gave me instructions of how to send the email to them so that they could then allow me to print it. And I had two things I had to print. So the first one went fine. The second one was a different story. Each time I tried, it did not go the same way the first one did. And my immediate thought was, you know what, I just can't do this. But then I said, you know what, that's me being comfortable. That's me being passive. That's me just giving up. And so I had a little talk with myself and said, go ask for help. And so I went to the counter and I asked for help, and they were able to assist me. And what does that have to do with pushing towards your edge? Sometimes our edge, getting past our comfort zone, is reaching out and asking for help. Sometimes we can figure things out on our own, but sometimes all we need is a little bit of assistance. But something stops us from asking. Maybe we're afraid that the person will say no. Maybe we're afraid that we will appear to be dumb or stupid. But I encourage you to take today or the next couple days to think about your comfort zone. And comfort zones are good, but sometimes it's good to know where your edge is. Because knowing where your edge is or finding your edge, you may find that you are a lot more capable than what you give yourself credit for. You may find that you can do more things than what you thought. You may find that, that old brain is still functioning. You may find that when you push and go towards your edge and get to that sweet spot, and it is a sweet spot because it feels so good when you get there, you may find that you're now developing or moving into a new area of comfortability that's taking you and stretching you in ways that you had never imagined. But remember, we never want to go too far to that edge that it brings pain. Never go too far where it's destructive for you. And so it's a balancing act of finding that sweet spot. And so I encourage you to find that sweet spot on purpose. And with that, I'm going to end this message and let you know that I love you, and I will be talking with you later this week. Bye-bye.